is our only female woman leader, Fuleratu Mohammed. So she's currently a grad student in the University of Manitoba. She is a first-class honors graduate of Bachelor of Arts in Education with a minor in English from the University of Ghana. And she is currently a graduate student at the University of Manitoba in Canada, studying Masters of Education, Second Language Education, right? That's a mouthful. Masters of Education, Second Language Education. And she's passionate about education and enjoys volunteering. So one thing in common with everyone is they are all Ghanaians and they enjoy volunteering. That is why they are here today to share with us their experiences and talk to us about how you can actually start from your home country and make it in Canada. So without further ado, we are going to hand the floor over to Fuleratu. Fuleratu is fresh. You know, we are bringing in seasoned people and we are bringing in fresh people. Fuleratu literally just got to University of Manitoba last year, and she's going to be sharing, in fact, how do you get to Canada? What are the documents you need to go to Canada? Because as most of you already know, there is no interview process. So you need to get your documents right. You need to get your documents correct. So Fuleratu, over to you.
Hello. Okay. Hi, guys. Salaam alaikum. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are joining us from. And Samira, thank you very much for this opportunity. And when I saw the flyer and I saw scholars, I was like, yeah, because I'm still a student. I came here just in December. That's why I'm going to share my experience on how I applied and the documents I prepared for my application. And as Brother Farouk mentioned, the first become a beneficiary of his initiative, and I'm very thankful for his team. So I'm going to share how to apply for study permits and what documents to prepare for your application process. And as Brother Farouk mentioned, you can do all these on your own, searching for schools, applying for visa, because I've even seen colleagues who contacted the services of these agents and they still didn't get in. So visa application, you have to be involved. Even though some people even contact the services of agents and get through, you have to be involved. And I'm Fuleratu Mohammed again, and I graduated from University of Ghana with a bachelor's degree in BA Education English, and I'm studying second language education here in University of Manitoba. So I'm trying to... So how to apply for a study permit, and also the second thing is the documents to include in your application. So for application for a Canadian visa or study permit, it can be done online or using filling hard copy forms. And I feel like the online one is more convenient and easy because you just scan your documents and upload it. And I think that one too is more like the duration is more less than filling forms and submitting a physical application. And you have to create an account on the IRC portal. I'm sharing some of these things because during our time, so some of us didn't even know where to start from. So you have to create an account on the IRC portal with a username and password, and you answer pre-application questions. And I wanted to share some how these questions look like, because answering these questions wrong would take you to like a wrong form or wrong application. So I'm going to share that just quickly to show you how it looks like. Please, can you see my screen? Samira, can you see my screen?
I think it's low. Yeah, perfect.
Okay. So you'll be asked questions like this: what would you like to do in Canada? And obviously you are there to study, you are going to there to study. And how long are you planning to stay? You are staying more than 6 months, because Usually studies is 1 year or 2 years. Then you select the code that matches your country, whether you're from Ghana, South Africa, Kenya, anywhere you are, you select that and you just answer these questions correctly. And one question someone asked me is, have you submitted your biometrics before? And if you've submitted your biometric for police reports, it doesn't count. But if you've submitted your biometric for a visa application to travel in the last 10 years, then it should be yes. But if you've not traveled or submitted your biometrics for visa application, then it should be a no. So these are the pre-application questions. They'll ask you if you've submitted your medicals for any of their physician in the last 12 months. You have to answer these questions correctly. So after these questions, then you would arrive at something like this. I'm going to share that too. So you should arrive at something like this. So the first form here, you have to download, and once you have to have Adobe Reader on your device to be able to view these forms. There are 2 forms, like your study and education information and your family information. And make sure you are filling in the right information in these 2 forms, because any false information or you give an information that doesn't run through your documents, it's a red flag and you might be denied. So make sure you have Adobe Reader, download these forms, the family information form and this first form. And the other documents are letter of acceptance, passports. I'll talk about them. So you should arrive at something like this after filling the pre-application questions. So back to my slide. So when you create the account, you have 60 days to complete and submit your application. However, if you are not able to do that in 60 days, they'll just delete the application and you can start a new application. So don't panic. Myself, I created the first account, even though I wasn't ready to submit my information. I just wanted to have a view of how the site looked like and the documents required from me. So that is how to apply. So we are moving on to the documents. The documents for visa applications is divided into 2 categories. We have the required documents and the optional documents. And note that there is no interview for this Canadian visa application. So you have to put a lot of work into preparing your documents. Make sure everything is right. Make sure you don't leave any doubts in the mind of the visa officer. So we are going to look at the required documents. So on the portal, apart from the family information form you have to fill and your personal education form you have to fill, you have to upload a passport. Your passport usually is the first page of your passport. You have to scan it and upload it. And also your passport picture. And they have specific dimensions of how your passport picture should be. So please take note of that and take the passport picture in those dimensions. And also your letter of acceptance or admission letter from the school. And also your proof of financial support. So I'm going to talk into details a bit about the proof of financial support because it's very important. Most denial reasons are based on lack of funds. So with the proof of financial support, you need a bank statement. This bank statement can come from you if you have like the capacity or the money, or it can come from your parents if they are the ones sponsoring you. But if you are getting the bank statement from any other person apart from yourself or your parent, then you need an affidavit. I don't know how you call it in other countries, but in Ghana, it's like a legal document that is issued by the court to show that the person giving you the bank statement is giving it to you willingly and it's authentic. And you need a signed letter from the sponsor to be it an uncle, an auntie, a guardian. You need a signed letter from the person saying, I am this person and I'm supporting this person to study in Canada for the duration of this at this university. And I have this amount in my bank statement and I'm going to support the person. So the person will sign that letter with the person's email and address, or it should be in a format of a formal letter. Then you yourself have to write a letter explaining the details of financial support. So say you got a scholarship from the school you applied to, and you quote the amount in these details of financial support. So these details of financial support is just explaining how you are going to finance your cost of studies. So the first one, maybe the scholarship from the school, you quote the amount, and the sponsor from yourself, your parents, or any other person sponsoring you, then you quote the amount. And all these documents should be scanned as one document. So when I showed you the feel of how the documents look like on the IRCC portal, you see that there is just one space for proof of financial support. So you should scan all these documents into one file and upload it at that proof of financial support section. So this is, and some people add pay slips, assets. It depends on you. How are you going to finance your cost of study? So you have to include that and explain and attach a letter explaining it and make sure that if it's an amount from a bank statement, I gave the equivalence in Canadian dollars. So bank statements in Ghana cedis, I gave the equivalence in Canadian dollars. Yes, so for the optional documents, even though that side is titled as optional documents, it's also very important, because the first one is the letter of explanation, study permits, or study plan, or statements of purpose. So I got people, when it comes to writing, sometimes we don't know how to start and all. So I got a PDF giving tips on how to write a study plan, and I'll share that shortly with you. It should be up shortly. Because people ask me how to write letter of explanation, and they want me to share my letter of explanation, but there are issues of plagiarism, and you might be tempted to copy certain things word for word. And this place, they don't take plagiarism lightly. So you have to write like you're applying to a school and you're plagiarizing. It doesn't speak well of you. So I got this tips from Memorial University. Someone shared it and I thought it would be helpful. So first, you have to look at your introduction and conclusion. As any writing, you have to have a strong introduction and conclusion. And it says you have to explain to the immigration officer about who you are, your goals, why you are an ideal candidate to study in Canada. Yeah, and you have to write why you wish to study in Canada for the program in which you've been accepted. Someone shared a rejection letter where they said they don't think he'll come back to his country after studies. And when he requested, you can request for a detailed reason. And they said his statement of purpose is vague. So you have to create a link between what you've studied and what you are going to study. And you have to convince them that this program you are going to study would help you. So we come to the point 3. What is your overall educational goal? So how is this, explain what is the end goal to pursue this degree you are going to pursue. And for example, if you're an undergraduate student, then explain if you are interested in master's program in future. And if you are in master's program, maybe you would want to pursue further studies after the master program. Then why are you not pursuing similar program in your country? So you have to give them the reason. Maybe there are similar programs in your country, but why are you not pursuing them? Maybe the program in the Canadian University offers intense research, or you have to give them reasons like that. And how will this program enhance your employment opportunity? You have to tackle this too, so that they know that you're not just applying for applying's sake, but you really need this. You are interested in gaining this education and skill. And one important one, ties you have with your home country or residence. Some people are denied on this reason because the visa officer feels like you won't come back to your country after studies. So you have to give them documents. You have to document any property, trust accounts, or significant immovable assets in your home country that you would not likely abandon to go to Canada. If you want to pursue postgraduate education work permits in future, then explain that after completion of your degree, you would like to get work experience in Canada. So you have to convince them. Maybe you have family and children at home, so you write that you would come back because your family and children are there. Then address financial aspects. So this, you've already attached a letter of explanation, so you can repeat it here and be authentic, precise, and concise. Brother Farouk, whilst we are having one Zoom meeting, mentioned that it shouldn't go beyond 2 pages or 1.5 pages. Don't talk too much, but make sure you talk to the issues too. So that is just tips on how to write a letter of explanation, because people have been asking about that. So let's go back to, so other things to add is police reports, because while filling the form, they'll ask you if you have any criminal records. So I don't know about other countries, but in Ghana, I got my police reports from the police headquarters in Osu. Yeah, that's where I got my police reports. And it was part of my topic that I'll talk about timelines, but I can't talk about timelines because we know how the system is like. Some people pass through people to get their documents faster, and some people pay to get their documents faster. So it's up to you, because the way the system is, I can't give timelines. And also you can add other things like proof of assets, marriage certificate, if it applies to you. So maybe if you mentioned in your letter of explanation that you come to your country because of assets you have in your home country, then you have to provide proof. If you mention that you come back because you have wife and children or husband and children in your country, then you have to provide proof. Then you can include, people have added that they included maybe introduction letters from prominent people in their society, from their lecturers, from their workplaces. So nobody will penalize you for adding too much documents. So just add anything you think would give you a plus, just add it to this section. And you can add your resume or CV. In Ghana, we do an national service, I think Nigeria too. So I added my certificate, my NSS certificate, to show that work experience I mentioned of in my resume. Then my undergrad certificates, and also all these documents should be scanned as one. Don't forget this, you can't upload the documents separately. So you should scan all these documents as one form, and you upload it at the client's information section at the optional side. So general tips, make sure there is consistency in the amounts quoted on the bank statements and other documents. So while filling the education form I showed you earlier, you will mention the amounts you have on your bank statements, and you mention this amount while explaining your details of financial support. Make sure the amounts you mention is the same in all the documents, so that it won't be like you're telling lies. And organize your documents accordingly when scanning. So let's say optional information, you scan your letter of explanation first, then you bring police reports, then it should be accordingly. It shouldn't be all over the place. And save documents in PDF format and title them appropriately. So PDF is like a go-to format for saving files. It's easy and it's easily accessible. So you have to save your documents in PDF formats. Even before you upload your documents, they'll give you like tips on how to upload documents and the formats they want, and PDF is one of them. And title your documents appropriately. So if you scan all the documents for the optional side, title it letter of explanation. If you are uploading documents for financial support, title it proof of financial support. Like, title your documents appropriately and upload it so that you won't look unserious, like you look very organized and ready, like in the eyes of the visa officer, because you are not there to explain anything to them. And as always, alternative resources, I always refer to Brother Farouk's website because it helped me a lot. You have to read on your own, you have to research on your own. And even though I did my application myself, I got assistance from Brother Farouk and like his initiative. So this website has a whole lot of information, from schools to how to write academic CV, how to write a statement of purpose, and visa application procedure. So That's why I added this site here as an alternative resource. So thank you very much. That is all I have for you on this application. I hope it's very informative. Thank you.
Asine, I really hope everybody had their notes, because where else would you get this kind of detailed information? One thing that I really learned from like Fulera's slides is the fact that you have to label and title every single document, and then realize you would not be there to answer any question. So it's one time and one time only. So you need to make sure you gather everything right before you submit. So yeah, very, very impressive. Thank you so much, all the speakers. We'll be closing the Q&A in 8 minutes. But then the very first question is, what are the requirements to study in Canada? Also, what is the time frame for getting admission if you started application this month? What is the time frame of getting admission if you started your application this month, meaning if you started in April? What is the time frame that you would get your response?
Whether I can take that. With this particular question, I believe if you did apply somewhere April or maybe last March, my understanding will be that this is more along the lines of either the winter session or the fall session or the late session. So
the second question is from, well, no name. How do we get school or department funding? Because I know Isaac spoke a lot about like privately funded and publicly funded schools and how that works. So this person is saying, how do we know or a school has funding? And also, is it that we will go through the schools in Canada and know if they offer the courses, or like, how do we navigate like actually getting schools that have funding? That's a good question.
And most of my talks will be science bias, and I'm glad we have other speakers here. For the funding, let's say using University of Alberta, for example,